mi clase. We are doing 5.1, writing linear equations from situations and graphs. So we are going to practice writing our equations given a situation or a graph. We have practiced with a graph, not so much with story problems, so that's where we're going a lot today. So there are no key terms of vocabulary today, which is awesome. So let's move on. So a video club charges a one-time membership fee plus a rental fee for each DVD borrowed. Use the graph to write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the amount spent Y on X DVD rentals. So the really nice thing is it kind of tells us, here's my one-time fee. Remember, that's kind of like our initial value, right? Our starting value. And then it even tells us that we're going to add a rental fee for each DVD. So it kind of tells us all the pieces we need, which is really nice. So remember, the first thing we want to do is go find this Y-intercept. So we're going to identify the Y-intercept. Our B will be 0, 8. That's our initial value, right? That's our starting cost. So then we want to find points that we can actually find the slope between. If you look really closely, this dot is not perfect in the corner. Neither is this one. Neither is this one, but this one is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope between my Y-intercept and this point here. Okay, so two things we need to be careful of is, well, actually it's the same thing, but the Y-axis goes up by 2s and so does the X-axis. So when we count to make our triangle, we cannot just count 1, 2, 3 and leave it like that, right? So we are going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I went up by 10. I went up, so that's positive, right? This is my slope. And then we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. And so that will get me my run. And then we're going to reduce. Let's reduce both of these by 2. And we would say our slope is 5/4. And so now we have our M, we have our B, and we can write our equation. Remember, our equation is Y equals MX plus B. And we're going to leave the Y and the X open so we can then use it to find other numbers, right? Maybe past 12 DVDs. So we'll go Y equals our slope, 5/4, X plus our Y-intercept, which was 8. And that is our final answer. There's our equation for that line. All right. The rent charge for space in an office building is linear relationship. So they're telling us it's linear, which means it's going to be still in this form. Also, it means that the rate is constant, right? It has to be a straight line, so the rate has to be the same. All right, we're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the rent at West Main Street office. So they gave us the price at 600 square feet. It was $750. They gave us the price for 900 square feet of 1,500. These are our points. This is our X side, and this is our Y side. Whoop. So we're going to use the slope formula. I'm going to go 1,150 minus 750, and I'm going to put it over my 900 minus my 600. So 0 take away 0 is 0, and 5 take away 5 is 0, and then 11 take away 7 would get me 4. And then 9 take away 6, or 900 take away 600 is 300. And then I'm going to reduce by taking out these zeros or divide by 100, and so we get a slope of 4/3. Now remember, for our Y-intercept, we have to solve for B. We're missing our B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smaller numbers. I love my smaller numbers, and I'm going to plug them into my equation to solve for B. So we would have 750 equals my 4/3 times, I'm going to put 600 over 1 because this is a fraction. I'm going to fix my 3 there. And then I'm going to go plus B. So we have 750 equals, well, first we have to take 4 times 600. and then we're going to divide it by 3. Okay, so 4 times 600 is 2,400. I'm going to divide by 3. We're going to get 800. And then to solve for B, we use inverse operations. We're going to subtract this 800. And 750 take away 800 is actually negative 50 for B. Okay, so now, sorry about that. Now that we have our B and our M, we can write our equation. So it's going to be Y equals 4/3 X minus 50. There we go. So anytime you're given this kind of information, just use it as your slope formula, just like we were counting here. Instead, we did the subtracting. All right, here is a graph. It says the cash register subtracts $2.50 from a $25 coffee cafe gift card for every medium coffee the guest buys. Use the graph to write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. So why don't you pause, try to figure out the slope and the Y-intercept, and then we'll see if yours matches mine. So the Y-intercept is at 25. These go by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So our B is 0, 25. And then I'm not going to use this point because it's floating, right? It's not perfect, so I'm going to use this point. So if I go down, this is down 25. I went all the way back to 0. And it's down, so it's negative. And then I'm going to go to the right. Well, this goes all the way perfectly to 10, and I went to the right, so it's 10. And then I'm going to reduce by 5. And I'm going to get negative 5/2. So hopefully that's what you got. Check it and make sure you understand why. Okay. And then now that I have my slope and my Y-intercept, I can go Y equals negative 5/2 X plus 25. All right, number 5, Harley's weekly allowance, and trust is technically number 4, varies depending on the number of chores she does. He receives $16 in allowance the week he did 12 chores and $14 in the allowance the week he did 8 chores. Write an equation for his allowance in slope-intercept form. So these are our points right here. Okay, the chores to the money, right? Depending on how many chores he does is dependent on that's how much money he's receiving. So this is our X, the chores are our X's, and the allowance is our Y's. The money he makes depends on how many chores he does. So I'm going to do 16 minus 14 over 12 minus 8. So I get 2/4. Whichever reduce that, that's a half. So now that I have this, I'm going to use my smaller points here. I'm going to use 8 and 14. So remember, I'm going to plug it in my slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go 14 equals a half times 8 plus B. So we get 14 equals 4 plus B. And then inverse operations, I subtract 4, and we get B equals 10. So here's my slope. I'll write M. Here's my Y-intercept. So we get Y equals a half X plus 10. All right, so remember to use the information of the description of the linear relationship to find that slope and that Y-intercept. Here is your graph. This is your first independent practice, is a graph. And then this is your second one. I apologize for the link when it got printed. I guess that's what happened. But you can use any of these points. So you can just use these to find the slope, right? Do not try to do proportional relationships. It won't work, okay? So use the slope formula and our little, quick trick here, just on like 2 of them right here. All right, until next time, adios.